Hey everybody, welcome to Romance of the Three Kingdoms XIII. Sorry, just kidding. Romance of the Three Kingdoms XIII, aka Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13. I'm the Mysterious JG. This is going to be a video about a call to heroes, how to submit a created character for a future LP of this game on my channel. There will be no gameplay in this video, and the first person who comments on how there's no gameplay in this video in the comments section will be banned from the channel. Because I'm telling you right now, there will be no gameplay. I've done a couple of these RTK LPs, and I've always had a video where I just explain how creating characters works. Sometimes it takes more than one video to go through the whole process. There's no gameplay in this video. So, that being said, let's jump straight into it, and, oh, I just completely placed my remote control out of reach. That was a smart move. Yeah, so, we're going to jump into, we'll show the intro for the game, and then we will jump into the, character creation. I've already created a JG Mystery character, and, we're going to do a lethal lottery type of deal, where I haven't quite figured out exactly when I'm going to jump on and do the LP because, well, I'll explain once we get into the game. They're little like short scenario type things, which are kind of arranged as a tutorial to let you learn the game. And I'll probably be going through those and playing them and recording them and showcasing them. And depending on how long those take, because there seems to be quite a few of them that you can unlock, we might not get to an actual LP using created characters for a little while. But that's no reason for us not to jump in and start playing with how to create your character for Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13. It's actually a little bit simpler than some of the games that we've played in this series before, general viewers. So, a couple of things I didn't understand at first. I poked around, spent like about 2 hours probably approximately dicking around with the game before recording this video, just to try to figure out what some basic things actually are. And about how many points I should allow you to allocate to your characters so that they are above average strength without being incredibly OP. That stands for overpowered. Yeah, Romance of the Kingdom's alright. Surely is. So Lu Bu is going to be featured in this game. That should not really surprise veterans of the series. Three brothers, also not terribly surprising. There's Zhao Yun with little Ado. Generic soldiers. Surprised to see generic soldiers get showcased before Cao Cao, but I'm sure Cao Cao will be showing up in the intro soon enough. Oh, I feel like I should know who that is, and I'm drawing a blank. There's Guan Yu. That might have been Pang De in their famous coffin match. That is presumably meant to be Zhao Chan. She's usually pretty prominent. There's the man, double C. There's... No, that's Sun Quan. My bad. You. I'm just like, hey, look at how I can recognize the kawaii presentations of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms characters. Pretty impressive, huh? Expectations for the RTK intros are pretty high, because there have been some really gorgeous ones over the years. And right off the bat, that's kind of like... The RTK 10 intro is probably still my favorite intro, like, ever. But anyway, that being said, yeah, and you know what, on the 24-hour plus We Love Grimgram's live stream, Grimmeth and I did get to interact a little online, and he gave me some things to be aware of concerning this game, and chatter he'd heard. I have reason to believe this will not be as in-depth as the most in-depth RTK games of the past, but just from playing with it a little, it already seems to be a little bit more involved than RTK 12, which I did Let's Play on this channel. It's the only RTK Let's Play I've done that did not have any opportunity for creative characters, because it was a port of, it was the Japanese version. It wasn't ported over, it was just patched, which meant created characters just really weren't going to work. So RTK 12, I'm already off track here, that's my whole deal. RTK 12 was essentially a glorified mobile game. It was something you could have played on a phone. It was pretty clear that it was like the PC port of a game that had been designed, like, hey, let's do RTK for the mobile phone game app age. And that being said, it wasn't a terrible game for a mobile game, but boy, it was disappointing if you were a fan of the really in-depth RTK games of the past. But you controlled an entire force in 12 as you did in 11. But in 13, just playing around with it a little bit, it is going back to the RTK 10 mode, where you play as a single officer. Now that officer can be... Ronin's not the right term, that's Japanese samurai class term. But you can essentially be like a rogue officer wandering around doing stuff. You can play as the leader of a force right from the get-go. You can climb your way up the ranks. I had, setting aside some particular individual frustrating points in the LP, I had a lot of fun playing as Zhou Yu in 10. And I had a lot of fun in non-recorded playthroughs of 10 over the years, where I could A, save load if things didn't go my way without guilt, and B, just not care too much about unifying China. And I have not exactly decided what my big main recorded for the internet playthrough of this game is going to be. I might play through as JG Mystery and just have JG Mystery float through life in Three Kingdoms China, or I might pick an officer who interests me in one of the forces. And I might accept people's feedback and ideas if you want to throw those out there. But we're going to do a quick overview of some stuff in the game, and then we're going to go to the edit officers. This is theoretically the Call to Heroes video. So the hero mode is something I played around with a little bit off screen, so you're not... I don't know if there was an intro movie that we missed by me playing some already, but I think I can pick any hero mode. But you play a little short sequence. You play as Liu Bei, and basically you get taught about some social interactions, because playing as Liu Bei, you need to develop friendships with and form the Peach Garden Oath with Liu Bei's sworn brothers from the novel, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei. And I also played through a hero mode as Cao Cao, where basically you start as Cao Cao, you hire Dian Wei, you fight a single battle against the Yellow Turbans, and then you get a tutorial on the various diplomacy things that would be needed in order to form an alliance with Yuan Shao to fight against old Dong Zhuo. And then the next hero mode I haven't played, and I'll play through these on screen just to showcase them, but the next hero mode would be a Lu Bu. I am going to assume that not only is there some combat in this one, probably this is the story mode that will teach you the duel mechanics. And then you jump forward, and there's other scenarios, and I think as you advance in time, you probably get to ones like... I don't think it's really about tutorials anymore. I think by the time you play a scenario as Zhuge Liang here, it's probably going to be a self-contained story, but you'll be expected to already know how the game's played. And I jumped in here and played a few videos, short little videos, snippets to tell you the story. But essentially, the hero mode allows you to play through the entire story of the Three Kingdoms era. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think in one way it could work pretty well, because in previous RTK games, and indeed in Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence, one of the tricky things is that you're trying to play through the history and see all the cinematics, but if you drift too far off course, the history breaks down and you can't watch the cinematic events anymore. Hero mode, well, it'll be unsatisfying in one way because you can't really take over all of China. You're just doing these individual little snippets of story, but at least you're actually able to unlock the story this way. Whether there are story sequences that are only in the main game and not in hero mode, I do not know. The main game, you will actually pick your scenarios in the traditional RTK style. And in this case, rather than picking a force, you will pick an officer, and away you go. So, just for the heck of it, we're going to play Warlords. We're not actually going to play. I'm just going to allow Mysterious JG to appear in the scenario. And then confirm and recommended officers. These are officers that they would recommend you use in the warlord scenario. I'm going to go with original officer JG Mystery, and if I confirm my settings, okay, so it set me up in Jiangping as a free officer. The reason I'm looking at this is I don't remember when I created the JG Mystery character being given the option to choose where I would start. So I was wondering if that's something you have to place. Oh, and see, you can do Japanese or Chinese voice acting. There is no English language voice acting in this game, which I was a little surprised by. So I guess I'll have to go back and, oh, position original officers. So this will be the frustrating thing, is you have to probably position your original officers individually in each scenario. So that's irritating. And I don't see where I get to do a list either. Okay, so I guess that means that as part of the Call to Heroes, you're going to have to select the city that you want your officer to start in. So in this scenario, for example, you can start in Wu Wei, Jincheng, Tianshui, Anding, Chang'an, Wudu, Zitong, Chengdu, I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, Jiangzhou, Zhengke, Hephu, Jiaoxi, Yongcheng, Yusui, Jianneng. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare placing all these officers. I'm just kind of going to zip through them. Shangyong and Yong'an. Hongnong, I already did Chang'an, I think. Jiangying, Ye, Henai, Luoyang, Wan, Zhenyi, Jiangling. Oof. Yeah, this is going to be an issue. Changsha, Guayan, Lingling. All these cities are here. If I scroll over the one that you want, just make a note to yourself of what it was called. But yeah, boy, I hadn't quite realized how big of an issue this was going to be until I sat down to record. It's the fact that you have to place officers each scenario. That's kind of clunky. Now you can place them all unposition original officers. I'm wondering, doesn't seem to be a way to do it randomly. Because if you don't select anything, it just sticks you up in Zerfall territory, the far northeast, in the frozen north there. But Beiping and Ji and Nanpi and Ganling and Julu and Zhongshan and all these different cities up here. I think I've scrolled over most of them at this point. Puyang, Chenliu, Zhuchang, Cao Cao's capital ultimately, although he doesn't hold that territory at this point in this particular little scenario. And making things more difficult is the fact that well, the same cities appear in each one, so that's something. So if you don't place him, this time, where does he end up? Well, you can turn the page. What does that even mean? Well, Anyway. So if I were to go to this scenario and allow JG Mystery to appear, and there's nothing here where its status is free, affiliated, nothing. Okay. And then if I were to fuck up again, I keep hitting the wrong button. Get JG Mystery to appear, then confirm, and now I will play as JG Mystery, who's now affiliated with Voodoo. So where is Voodoo? Maybe it is placing me randomly, and I just happen to... Okay, so this time I randomly popped up in a Cao city. Alright, let's back out of this and go to Battle of Guandu. We haven't done that one yet. JG Mystery. Now he's in Jiaoji. Let's try it again. JG Mystery. Now he's in G. Okay. You know what? Never mind. It looks like it is randomly placing people. So... So we could just go totally random, and I think that's what we're going to do. Alright. So, disregard a whole bunch of crap that I said about... I guess if you really have a place you want to go, you can make a point of wanting to go there, and... I'm not going to make that many creative characters, but you know what? I think it's better if we're just like random and just pop up wherever. I think that would be kind of fun. But part of me wants to restart this video since I wasted time sorting that out and learning on camera that you are randomly placed. But no, that's part of the fun of this whole nonsense. So, with edit historical officers, all you can do is edit their faces. With edit original officers, you get to go in and actually create stuff. So, that being said, it was difficult. I had to actually go in and load games and play around to actually find out what are some of the better but not godlike characters have for stats and try to give us the option to do something comparable. But I've gone ahead and made the JG Mystery character. Now, as I've played around on my off-screening, I have unlocked additional face portraits, and that was what made things so difficult in the Nobunaga's Ambition Sphere of Influence LP, is that I came up with portrait video, and I went through and told you what number the portraits were, and then the portraits moved around because I unlocked stuff, including additional portraits. In this game, the special portraits are all things that I've unlocked by goofing around. None of these were initially available, and they all are portraits from RTK12 so far. Standard portraits are off limits because they are already used by characters in game, and the other portraits are also used by characters in game. I don't really want to use the special portraits too much. I guess if you really like one of these, you can try to grab it, but it's pretty easy to figure out. If you really want a special portrait, you got Jihao Yuan, Jiang Wei, Huang Zhang, the Dream Master, Jia Qiao, Zhuge Liang, Liu Bi, Peng Tong, Zhang Fei, Da Qiao, and Sun Changzhang are the ones that I've unlocked so far, and I might unlock more, but you won't know until it's probably too late. But for the created characters' portraits, there's certainly enough for the number of characters I intend to create, which is probably no more than about 20, 25 at the most. I spend, as Grimmeth pointed out, way too much time making these freaking characters, considering nobody's paying me for it. But I'm going to go through the portraits real quick, and it's quite simple. I'm just going to number them individually, and since there aren't new ones to unlock, it should be quite easy. So when you're creating your submitted character, just list the portraits in order of how much you like them, and you want to select at least several, because if you don't select... If The first person I make a character for selects Portrait 2, and you select Portrait 2, and that's the only one you pick. I will give you... I'll wait and make you at the end and give you something that's left over. Alright? So anyway, this Portrait 1, Portrait 2, Portrait 3, Portrait 4, Portrait 5. He's got a pretty sweet cape going there. Portrait 6, Portrait 7, Portrait 8, Portrait 9, Portrait 10, which I almost went for because I really like his hair. 11, 12, 13, 14 is our pirate portrait. 15, nice beard on 15. Even better beard on 16. This might be a Vulture Bobo candidate. 17, Ninja. 18, 19, and 20. 21, 22, 23. I like his like armor with a half coat thing going on too. It's 24 and 25. You got your 26, your basic 27 is like Laughing Boy. 28, Smug Son of a Bitch. 29, Action Pose Man. And 30, which is actually my second choice for a portrait that I almost went with. 31, 32, another laughter guy. 33, just kind of nervous energy dude. 34, who is obviously Alfred P. Newman. And 35, which you can't have because I've already made that JG Mystery. And as you will note, don't have as many letters to choose from as in some other games. I just want to check for myself. That's 35. That would be 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. And I did not lose track. Okay. So that's 35. 36, 37. Sorry, it's 36 again. 37, 38, 39. That's pretty badass, motherfucker. 40, First Civil Officer. 41, Smiling Man. 42, Answer to the Ultimate Question. 43, guy looks like he's yelling at you about how you should be supporting Trump. 44 and 45. 44, he's got a nice little piece of headgear. 46, sort of a Sima Yi-esque. 47, 48, 49, and one of my favorites that didn't really work for JG Mystery, but is a neat portrait, is number 50. Looks like some kind of... It's like Don Pan in disguise. You got 51, now we're into our warrior portraits. 52, 53, 54, and 55. Let me double check again. 55, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Yeah, it was 35. So that's 40, 45, 50, it's 55. 56, back to a civil. 57, like a young dude with a fan. 58. I would have picked him if I was submitting a character for a Grimmeth LP because he looks like he's got some seditious poetry there. 59 and 60, is that right? Yeah, because 50 was creepy old guy. Got 61, warrior dude. 62, 63. That's not a bad action Grimmeth kind of guy. I don't know. 64, 65, Captain Chubbles, Mr. Chubby. 66, 67, 68, 69. 68's pretty badass. 69, the sexiest picture of all, and 70. 71, 72, 73. If you're wondering why you're watching this, folks, if you're not submitting a character, don't watch me count to like 120. I'm just doing this for people who are submitting characters, okay? 74 and 75, I think. 70, 65, 60, 55, 50, okay. 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. Sorry. 76, ooh, that's a fun portrait right there. Might be Mr. Serious for this LP. 77, 78, 79, and 80. 80's got the sweet, sweet mustache. 81, another chubby feller. 82. 82 is our final male portrait before we get into the ladies. 83, 84, and 85. 86, 87. I like 87. She's got like the hands akimbo. She's just like, check me out, man. Don't fuck with this. This is 82, 83 to 45, 86, 87, 88, 89, and 90. And do feel free, even if you're a male gamer, to submit a female character. It just makes a little more variety, in my opinion. 91, 92, 93, sort of a non-mon look going on. 94, Jihao Dun's lovely, lovely daughter. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. The other thing is that usually have more people submitting male characters than female characters. It's not like begging for female submissions. It's just that I think your odds of getting the character portrait you like is higher if you pick a female character because they're roughly evenly split. And I've totally lost track of count now. So this was 82, which makes it 85, 90, 95, 100. Okay. 101, 102, the little Zhuge Liang hat, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120. And Bean does have to submit a character. She doesn't have to watch the LP, but she has to submit a character. 121, 122, because I can actually have siblings in this one for JG. 123, 124, 125 with the goofy Chun-Li head things. 126, 127, 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, and I'm already wondering why I didn't go with rows and columns, because now I'll have to count down to 136 every single time. I don't know about that. Anyway, those are your different portraits you can choose from. You can also do auto male and auto female. If you tell me to just do an auto, I'm not going to consider your submission. Part of the fun of all this is that you do have to take the time to submit a character if you want to be considered. On the Family tab, you can input your life. You can pick the year you were born and a lifespan from 30 to 100. Do that. 170 is the default starting year. I stuck with that for JG Mystery, but made him live to be 100. That is probably maximum. I think at 15 years you can appear in game. That's pretty much maximizing when you will appear, depending on the scenarios that are used. Family, nobody gets to mess with this. I guess you can pick an affinity. You pick a character from the game, and that person, I guess, you're like friends with. You like them. You get along with them. Go ahead and pick a character you want to have an affinity with. No sworn siblings. No spouses, except that if Bobo and Bean submit characters, I will make them be married, and I'll probably make myself Bobo's sworn brother, since I don't believe I could make us brothers without actually creating character parents for us, which I'm not going to do. Then your name. You have a maximum of 6 characters. I went with JG Mystery. So pick a first name and a last name, and they need to be 6 characters or less. Quick experiment. Are capital letters taking up more space in this than lowercase letters? No, they take up the same amount of space. So, 6 letters, or fewer. You cannot go more than 6 letters. I know it irritates me too, considering it's like 2016. But it's probably because they did a cheap, quick transfer of this over from the Japanese version, where each individual character carries more meaning. Then you build your character. You can choose your gender, male or female. Oh, I just messed up my, well, don't... I guess you can have the voice of a character from the novel if you want. Let's see. So you have young man, old man, violent man. I don't really care about these. Brutish man. I went with senior man. You can do normal man, polite man. I went with talented man. I believe I went with talented man. Then you get into real characters: Liu Bei, Guan Yu, Zhang Fei, Cao Cao, Sun Ce, Sun Xuan, Zhuge Liang, Lu Bu, Zhao Yun, Zhou Yu, etc. I believe I went with Yeah, I'm fine with that. Military official or civil official? Civil officials will not duel. I went with military official. I might have to change that later because JG has horrible stats for combat. Weapon, you can choose sword, blade, axe, serpent blade, spear, long spear, blue dragon blade, halberd, crescent blade, bow, ban. I went with blade. Personality, and this affects how you get on with other officers. So if you are calm and the other officer is bold, maybe you don't get along that well. But you can be calm, bold, reckless, or timid. I went with calm. Now there is a the duty, bravery, and aptitude thing I didn't understand, so I checked in the manual. You have 5 different levels of interest in this. Duty is like your belief in honor and stuff. Bravery is like how affected you are by other people's combat type stats, like war and leader. Aptitude is how well you respond to people with high stats on like political and intelligence. So ignore is like the lowest, disdain is the second lowest, then normal is normal. If you honor that, then it means a lot to you, and if you revere it, it means like the most to you ever. So that being said, I honor duty and aptitude and disdain for bravery, which is not to say that I literally have disdain like the referee has for Carlito. That's for Bobo. But it's like, it matters to me less. Like, you know, if some dude comes in and he's all like strapping combat guy. My guy's a civil officer, so he admires people who are good at that. And people who have honor, but he's not all that moved by your abilities in combat. Preference. This are the list of different types of gifts that other officers can give you and how much it will affect you. I set everything to yes. JG Mystery can be bribed with armor, with tomes, or with treasures. These are all yes, no. Alcohol is none, normal, and available. So I think available means you really like booze. So I went with, I like booze. And then your greed can be unwanted, normal, or greedy. It's just like how much are you affected when people give you gifts. I'm going with normal for JG. So he's basically, yeah, he'll accept gifts of any type, and he's fond of alcohol, but he's not like unusually easy to bribe. Then you get to the stats. Now we're into the meat of it, really. Leadership, I assume the way these work is that leadership is, well, it's the same as it has been in the RTK games of the past, only charisma is missing. So leadership basically is, if you are leading troops in combat, this is the damage you deal, the damage you take. The higher your leadership, the better. JG Mystery is not a combat officer primarily. War gets more into a one-on-one duel. This is not your ability to lead troops, this is your ability to handle yourself in a fight. When it's just you scrapping with one bad guy. JG Mystery is even worse at this. Intelligence gets into... I haven't played the game enough to know exactly what it's going to impact, but I would imagine... I know it affects debates, which are part of the game. I think it affects diplomacy, stuff like that. And that is JG Mystery's best stat. And Gov, I think, is just poll. So it affects, you know, when you go in and develop cities and stuff like that. And that's JG Mystery's second best attribute. If you have done the math, you will see that it's, what is it? It's 180 plus 20, 200 plus 220 plus 240. I basically, in Nobunaga's Ambition, I think I gave you enough points to distribute that if you just leveled them evenly across your stats, you'd have 80 and everything. Well, this time I'm going with, sorry, I got a headache. It's actually, I want to get this recorded tonight, but I'm fighting a bit of a headache here. 180 plus 220. 180, 200, 220 is 240. So why is that not adding up in my head? I think it's, you can have 60. If you have 240 points to distribute, then if you don't distribute them at all, like if you just distribute them evenly, you have 60 in everything. 60 plus 60 is 120, plus 60 is 80, plus 60 is 180, sorry, is then 240. So like 28 plus 24 is going to be 52, plus 96 is going to be 52 plus 96 would be 148, plus 92 is going to be like 150 plus 90, so it's 240, yeah. So it is. You've got 60 distributed evenly. This all made sense to me an hour ago. So, yeah, you would be a little bit above average at everything, but not that great. And you know what? What is a D minus? A D minus is a 65, isn't it? It's been a long time. So I could give myself an additional 20 points and have it be that... Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make a command decision to change this. No, you know what? I like being kind of hamstrung a little bit. So yeah, you have 240 points to distribute. Troop type. This is your ability to lead different types of troops. Your default is going to be D and everything. So I figured I would give you 5 points to play with. Across the 3 categories, you can go D, C, B, up to A. If I, as JG Mystery, put 1 point each into these 2, and then 3 points into Bowman, I just distributed 5 points, and that is what you have. So tell me, D through A, what you want to be for Spearman, Horseman, and Bowman, and make sure that you have a total of 5. Soldier info. Not sure what this is about, so I'm not going to get into it. Next up, you have ability. This was probably the hardest one for me to figure out. You have all these different abilities, and these are things you can actually develop and get better at as you move through the game. I don't actually, at least in what I've done so far, I don't see where you can improve your base stats. But I was a little bit more generous here. So you have commerce, farming, culture, training, patrol, coax, negotiate, order, virtue, overawe, speed, arouse, endurance, siege, weapons, defense, naval, dueling, heroism, and strategy. I've given you a total of 50 points to distribute here. I'm going to double check the math. 5 is 10, is 15, 18, 21, 28, 35, 43, 50. That is based on looking at Liu Bei, Cao Cao, and a couple of other really high-end heroes whose total stats were, for these total points distributed across all of these, were in the high 50s, mid 60s. And the fact that other characters who are not famous may have less than 10 points total distributed across these. So I figure, hey, if I give you 50, you don't have as many of these abilities as Liu Bei or Cao Cao, but you're way above the rest of the pack. So you've got 50 points to distribute across all of these categories. And these ones actually do manage to grow over time. So to give you a little info on what each one, commerce is your effectiveness at markets, farming is your effectiveness in farmlands, culture is your effectiveness in study hall. So that's a good one for Vulture Bean to take at St. Pigeonations. Training is your effectiveness in barracks, patrol is your effectiveness on inspections, which I imagine involves maintaining order in your city. They get a little bit more interesting in that. Coax, you can use coax on the placate missions. What does that mean? I don't actually know, but I gave JG some points on it. Negotiate, increase initial negotiation progress on diplomatic missions. Diplomacy in this game, you're kind of like, you have to go and talk to people in the city and rev up a certain amount of support for your proposal, so this makes it easier. Orator, increase damage dealt and starting wisdom in debates. Very important if you're going to be doing a lot of debating. If you want to be, wait for it, the master well, I guess it doesn't work with master debater, does it? Virtue, meet officers without invitations, increases employment chance. This would be a very important thing for a player character to have. I don't know how much difference it's going to make for an NPC roaming around the world. Because in this game, social introductions are a big part of actually... You can't just go up to an officer you've never met before and try to hire them. You have to actually get introduced to them somehow. Overall, increase troop count. Speed, increase unit mobility on land only. Arouse, increase attack and defense when troop count falls below a certain number. Endurance, regain morale after defeating enemy units. Siege, increase damage to gates, outposts, and siege weapons. Weapons, ballistae become Chuko Nu, and siege weapons gain more Defense, increase defense on camps and castle walls. Naval, unit no longer loses morale on water and is unaffected by water current. Dueling, increased damage and starting will in duels. Heroism, soldiers can perform strikes on soldiers of the same class. And strategy grants chance to evade an enemy strike. So you have a total of 50 points to distribute here. I gave JG some domestic stuff and then put everything else into stuff that I thought would be important in like debating and diplomacy. Because JG Mystery is not going to be a military officer. Forte. This... Oh, what did I give him? Orator. This is the skill that you teach another character if you become close enough friends with them and mentor them. Again, I don't think this is going to make a difference to the NPCs, unless JG Mystery, or whoever I play as, befriends the NPC and gets a skill from them. But it's the same skills. So of those things that you were putting points into, just pick your favorite, and I think of that as being your forte. It doesn't affect how your character functions, it just affects... It's not a big deal, just pick whichever your favorite one is. Strategy. So there's a bunch of strategies. I'm not going to read the effects, I'll just scroll through them. Undefeatable, Impeccable Strength, War God, Thousand Slayer, Little Dictator, Fierce Lion, Brave Warrior, and you can pause and read these if you'd like. Unwavering, Best in History, Best in the World, Undefeated in the Realm, Undefeated of the East, Bow of Heaven, Bow of the Gods, Unmoving, Mighty Warrior, Steel General, Immovable, Unyielding, Indefatigable, Sacrificial Strike, Iron Wall, Ring of Formation, Greater Desperation. There's a lot of these, aren't there? Combo Breaker, Cavalry Charge, Multi-Shot, Mighty Bow, Strength and Attack, Strength and Defense, Strength and Mobility, Strength and Spheres, Guard Up, Pimps Up, Hose Down, Forward March, Cavalry Raid, Mounted Guard, Rough Rider, or Rough Riding, Take Aim on the Defensive, Bowman Step, Cleave, Morale Boost, Desperate Command, Shield Wall Command, Cry of Justice, give me your knock for justice, Great Rebound, Daring Command, Versatile Command, Daring Charge, Grand Charge, Like the Wind, Brilliant Maneuver, First Emperor Show of Splendor, Advanced Command, Charge Command, Quicken Command, Experience. You have just that. Well, I did that line totally wrong. What you are experiencing is the quickening. Reckless Strike, Stonewall Command. Let us cross the river and rest in the shade of the trees. Quick Defense, Desperation Command, Rapid Fire Command, Volley Command, Attack Command, Defend Command, Quick Attack, Attack Order, Defend Order, Advance Order, Spear Offense Formation, Spear Defense Formation, Spear Speed Formation, Horse Offense Formation, the Horse Variations and Bow Variations on what I've already said, Inspire, Encourage, Attendant, Strategic Aid, Vanguard, Grand Healing, Great Maneuver, Diversion, False Information, Crafty Plot, Ensnare, Lockdown, Allure, Separation, Intimidate, Provoke, Disturb, Misinformation, Misinformed Panic, Misinformed Provocation, Misinformed Disturbance, Taunt, Intimidating Taunt, Provoking Taunt, Disturbing Taunt. That's where you, like, hang out. Intimidate Spears, Intimidate Horses, Intimidate Bows, Provoke Spears, Provoke Horses and Bows, Demoralize, which is, I think I gave myself the Demoralizer. Weaken Attack, Weaken Defense, Weaken Mobility, Weaken Spear, Soften and Slow, and Weaken and do those things to the other weapon types. Taunt Spears, Horses, Bows, Fire Technique, Sacred Flame, Burning Steer. Burning Steer, wow. Hellfire, Way of Peace, Sorcery, Grand Flame, Fire or Sorcery would be potentially a formula for Grimmith, Magic Necromancer bullshit. Grand Flame, Fireburst, Ensuring Flames, and Burn. I think that would be Enduring Flames. Control, basically, the higher that is, the less frequently you'll be able to use it, because you have to rack up a certain amount of tactical control before you can execute the technique. So Unyielding, you can use probably 3 times for every time you'd be able to use, say, Great Rebound. Although I could be wrong. I might be totally backwards. It might be that the higher that number is, the faster you gain the points to use it. But I believe it actually is. There's like individual units of control that build up with time during combat, and that the 3 techniques use 3 of those, and the 10 techniques would use 10. And then Expertise. You can be a strategy genius. City officers gain maximum troops and morale. You can have impartiality, where your city officer loyalty increases every season. Oh, you have to be a minister. These are only things that matter if you rise high enough in a force to run your own city. Spy works. You gain the ability to do spy missions. That's what I gave myself, because that sounds like fun. Might not be. Who knows? Personable. Increase starting progress on diplomacy missions. Like I said, you kind of have to gain diplomatic momentum, and that you start with less of it to be gained. Agriculture, increase the level of officer's agricultural skill, and it says officers apostrophe after the S. So this basically means that if you have the agricultural skill as your expertise, and you are the guy who's in charge of a city, the officers stationed in that city will get a bonus to their agriculture. Same thing with merchandise or commercial, logistical, means that your armies will use less provisions. Pragmatism lowers working time in the market, farm, and study hall. Expedition aid, soldiers return home faster from combat. City officers, horse aptitude increases with horse training, bow training, and spear training affect those unit types. My headache is getting really bad, so I'm trying to wrap up. Defender, city units' defense increases and mobility slightly falls, and Fierce Charger, city units' mobility increases and defense slightly falls. So yeah, you can choose to build up defense at the expense of movement speed on attack, or vice versa. And that's basically it. That's JG Mystery for you. He's got the voice of a talented man. He's a calm personality, and I gave him really high intelligence and governance, but he's not going to be very useful in combat. And honestly, I'd have to think about whether I'd want to rejig him later, because if I do play as him, it'd probably be more interesting to actually be in a little bit more combat. But that's my starting point for him anyway. I didn't change anything, so I don't really care if we interrupt this or not. But that's it for this video, folks. So what you would need to do if you want to submit a character, there's a handful of people, you pretty much know who they are. If Bobo and Bean, Grimmith, Zerfall, Lethal, and adding to the list now All Dragon, because he was part of that stream that we did recently. Any of those guys submit a character, I'll pretty much take the time to make them a character and throw them in the game. Otherwise, if you go ahead and submit, I have not decided how many characters I'm going to create, but it'll work like previous LPs. There will be a lethal lottery. I'll put down your name and your character name, and random number generator will decide who gets in and who does not. And have not made any firm decisions on how many characters I'm going to put in. So, go ahead, take a crack at it. It shouldn't take too long. Again, just a real quick summary. Do not do auto male. Do not pick auto male or auto female. Tell me to do that, because I won't consider your character. Pick a portrait. Pick a couple of portraits. Have a backup. Pick a name. First name, last name, 6 characters or less, both. You're going to have to pick weapons, personality. It's on a scale from ignore to revere. You have to decide what you think of duty, bravery, and aptitude. You can honor them all like crazy if you want, or you can just name them all. That one doesn't matter. Decide what you think about treasures and alcohol. Come up with stats that total up to 240, which means, again, if you don't distribute them at all, they're 60s. So you're going to have to choose some things to be good at and some things not to be good at. Troop types, your starting point is D. You're giving you 5 points to boost up something. Abilities, from these 20 different ability categories, you have a total of 50 points to distribute. And since they're each 10, that's like I guess it's like a quarter of the way, because there's like 20 of them, and they can all go up to, I think, a 10. That's actually 9. Choose something to be your forte out of those. Choose a strategy out of the list, and choose an expertise, and then see if you made it in to the LP, which will happen at some point in the future, I assume. No promises are being made, and if I go through quite a few of these hero modes before getting started on an LP with created characters, and you don't like that, no fucks will be given. This is a long video with no gameplay, but I warned you about that up front, so I don't want to hear any whining. And I'm going to sign off because I've got a headache. So this has been the Mysterious JG. I hope that people will be interested in trying to get into an LP. I hope you will throw out your ideas on which scenario would you like to see. What officer would you like to see? Would you like to see JG Mystery run around in China having crazy adventures without immediately aligning with the Force? Or would you rather see a historical officer's rise to fame and glory? And I will read what everyone has to say and chew it over, and I'm sure that at some point in the near future we'll be having a lot of RTK 13 fun. Bye for now. Hey folks, Mysterious JG here. just as I was getting ready to shut this whole thing down, I realized there was one thing I just outright forgot to show that you would need to know potentially in creating your character. I zipped through real fast the voices: talented man, tactical man. I didn't actually play all of them because I didn't feel like it. But for female, you would have normal woman, wise woman, daring woman, alluring woman. Ooh, that was creepy. You can also, yeah, so you got normal, wise, daring, and alluring. I didn't realize there was only 4 of them. I kind of feel like I shouldn't have wasted the time starting the recorder back up. There you go. You got your 4 choices. If you decide to be a female, you need to figure that shit out. And I don't think anything else changes. Same weapons and all are available to you. Yeah. Alright, anyway. I figured maybe they'd have like Shang Zhang or Zhen Ji would be specific, but nope, it is not the case. So, talk to you guys later. Good luck getting into the Let's Play. Bye-bye.